Hello guys, and welcome to the 30 days of JavaScript. Today is day 8, and the problem that we are going to cover is function composition, and it falls under the topic of function transformation. So let's look into the question once again. I just solved it, and yeah, it's pretty simple and pretty interesting. So the problem goes like, given an array of functions f1, f2, f3, fn, return a new function fn that is the function composition of the array of function. So basically, we are given an array of multiple functions and we have to return a new function fn which is the function composition of all the functions that were there in the array. Now the question is, what is function composition and how to get it? So the function composition of a list of functions given as fx, gx, hx is nothing but fn of x is equals to f of g of hx. So we have to pass the entire function from right to left as input to the next one, or you can say previous one. So hx is passed as x to g and g of hx is passed as x to f. Now there is one more case that we need to understand. What if the list is empty? Means the function composition of an empty list of functions. Okay, so the list is completely empty. So the answer will be identity function, which is nothing but the value itself. So fx is equals to x. So whatever you are passing, it's the same thing that you will be getting. Now, let's try to understand the problem more carefully. So we are given an array of functions f1, f2, fn. Now we must return one new function such that it's already on the screen, you can read. Now, important part, functions are applied from right to left. So we move from the right corner to the left corner of the array. Now, if the array is empty, we have to return identity function, means nothing but the value itself. Now, how function composition works? Let's see. So we have an array of different functions. So function is fx is equals to x of 1, x is equals to x into x is equals to 2 into x. Now we have to start from the right to left. So let us assume the value of x is 4. So calling the returned function with x equals to 4. So first, this part of the code will be executed, 2 into x. So now the value of x will be 8. The same value will be passed to the previous one, which is x into x. So now 8 will be the input of the x into x function. So which is nothing but 8 into 8, 64. And finally, we will pass to the leftmost function. And here we have x pointing towards x plus 1. So 64 plus 1. So whatever output we are getting from the previous function will become the input from the next one. Right. Now the question is how to apply function from right to left. So the answer is very simple. We loop backwards for let I is equals to function of length minus 1, 2i is greater than equals to 0 and I minus minus. So this ensures that the last function runs first and first function runs last. Next question is, how do we change the result? So you don't have to actually do anything. Each function returns a value and this value will become the input for the next function. So you can say x is equals to function of I and then x. And then think of x as the current value so far. Last and important point is, what about empty function array? If we have an empty array without any function, then what do we have to do? Then loop never runs, we simply return x, which means fx is equals to x. Now, with all cases covered, let's move to the solution of this particular problem. So we have our compose and it's a function, passed functions that's ultimately returning a function with parameter x. Okay, so we'll start from looping the array from right to left. So let I is equals to and then functions dot length. Now why functions? Because the parameter that is passed to us is nothing but functions. Now I'll go up to 0 since we are moving from right to left. I'll do I minus minus and we assign a new value to our x which is nothing but functions of I and then x, because I have to pass the same output that we are getting from the previous one. So same output will be passed to a new function, okay, as an input. And then at the end, for this return function x, I will simply return x. And this done we will be able to run and execute our code. And since we already know the test cases are passed, we can finally submit it. Yeah. So, yeah, let's meet in the next video with video number 9.